That was the coin toss, and now we're moving on to our next segment, Hype Me Up. Hype Me Up is the segment where we literally hype up a player who doesn't get enough recognition, maybe a guy who's a little more under the radar entering his rookie year, maybe he's a young guy in the NFL, or maybe he's even in college. This week's Hype Me Up is on Devin Duvernay, the wide receiver out of UT Austin, now on the Baltimore Ravens. And I love Devin Duvernay. He was a later round draft pick, but I think he has the potential to be the number one receiver in Baltimore. I love Hollywood Brown. I like Miles Boykin. And I love their tight ends with Mark Andrews and Nick Boyle. But Devin Duvernay, he reminded me a lot of Tyler Lockett. He has the best tracking skills in the draft coming out of the draft this year. He's a thicker build. He's insanely fast. He has that body control where he can just tap his 2 feet in. He can drag it. And we saw him step up in the big moments. When Texas played against LSU this year, he showed out. And, I think he's that guy who can give the Ravens a spark in the passing game. It was supposed to be Hollywood Brown, but I think Hollywood Brown's going to be more of a number one guy, while Devin Duvernay, he could be the number one, but I think he could also be the guy who takes the top off the defense.
Yeah, last season we saw glimpses from Hollywood where he would step up and kind of be that true number one. There's that one catch in the Titans game where he had that one-handed grab, and it was just, he
in the Rams game he stepped up.
Yeah, so I like Hollywood. I need to see his progression from year one to year two, but I think Devin Duvernay really does have a great shot to kind of be that reliable target on the outside or the slot that Lamar can rely on, because we know that he uses Mark Andrews as a safety blanket, and Mark Andrews can also make some good plays. But if Lamar just falls in love with this guy, he has a really good shot to kind of take over the league.
Yeah, I think I love Devin Duvernay. I had him as a third round grade on him coming out of the draft this year, and I can see him being that guy who steps into the Ravens offense and is that guy that no one's talking about him, no one's expecting him. Everyone's planning for Marquise Brown or Mark Andrews or that run game with Mark Ingram and J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards and Lamar Jackson, obviously. But I think he's that guy who can be the consistent touchdown machine for Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, the Ravens have an underrated receiving core this year. I mean, the guys are young, obviously. The entire team is young. But I wouldn't be surprised if they stepped up and they started lighting people on fire. I mean, Lamar did it last year. I don't see him stopping. I mean, I think they'll do it again this year.
Yeah, and I think a big question with Lamar is, can he win the big playoff game? And I saw earlier this week he talked about that they underestimated the Titans, and I think a lot of teams did. And I think Lamar has that experience. He understands what it takes, and I think he's going to spread that to Devin Duvernay, Marquise Brown, and I really think this Ravens team is going to be a Super Bowl contender.
Well, one of the best things about Lamar Jackson was his ability to spread the ball around last year. He locked into Mark Andrews a lot because that was his safety blanket, but I mean, he had the ability to kind of spread the ball all around the field, let everybody get a piece, and that's what made him so deadly, is that you couldn't really take one guy away because they could hit you from multiple angles, And so if Devin Duvernay starts stepping up and making plays and Lamar Jackson starts trusting him and starts going to him more often, they are covering Hollywood. Oh, they're covering Mark Andrews. They're doubling him with a safety. This leaves the top open for Devin Duvernay to make some hay, kind of like the way that Juju did when Antonio Brown was with the Steelers. And Juju was kind of left one-on-one in a lot of situations. Teams weren't giving him the respect they deserved. We could really see someone, especially if he overtakes Miles Boykin for that number 2 role.
So Devin Duvernay, the way he's built, he has an insanely large lower body, and I can see him stepping into the Deebo Samuels type of role for the Baltimore Ravens. Deebo Samuel is my favorite player in the NFL. I think last year I got to hang out with him for a little bit, and I can see Devin Duvernay being that guy who can take reverses, take those little drag routes to the house. He ran track at Texas. He was one of the fastest players in the draft this year, and I can really see him being that sleeper guy who breaks out of nowhere, and he deserves to get that hype.
Yeah, the Ravens are really good at putting their players in the best position to succeed by using their strengths for them, by utilizing Lamar Jackson's legs.
Yeah, Greg Roman's amazing at that.
He is. I mean, you saw what he did with the Niners. He's had a good track record. So I like the Ravens. I think that was a great team for him to go to, because there isn't I wouldn't say there was a bona fide number one like there is in Atlanta or, another, star-studded team. So I like this. I like this pick, and it wouldn't surprise me if we heard a lot of Devin Duvernay this year.
Yeah, I think Devin Duvernay is going to be a star, and that was hype me up. Congrats. You made it to the end of the video. Look at us now. Yeah, I'm looking at you. Dead in the eye. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe, and you can follow us on all social media platforms at the 50/50 Ball. Peace.